Let's switch gears a little bit. My pal Ben Ferguson, host of the Ben Ferguson podcast. So Ben, welcome. Okay.
Good to see you.
I got a couple things for you. The first one is out of the blue. This is a big day for dramatic announcements. Bill Pulte is out as the acting DNI director of national intelligence, and Jay Clayton, a friend of mine, SEC chairman in the first term, and I guess U.S. attorney in New York, is in. So what do you make of that?
Yeah, first of all, I think this is very clear that the president is wanting to remake and reshape our intelligence community and how it runs and how things are done. We saw this since the first administration when he decided to go and get John Ratcliffe, a dear friend of mine, to do it. And now he's a CIA director. He wants fresh minds in there. He wants a new way of thinking. He wants technology bring us into a new way of fighting and dealing with intelligence. And he understands the threat that China and other countries are to the U.S. So I think the president clearly here is making a smart move. And he's saying, look, we've moved on quickly. I'm making it, and I'm going to change how this has been done for decades, and it should have been done a long time ago, and we're not going to make this partisan or political. This is going to be about national security.
Clayton's a very smart choice. He's a very smart guy. Awfully nice guy, but he's a very, very smart guy. But he's got a lot of toughness, I can tell you, dealing with him when he was running the SEC.
He wants a disruptor. He wants a disruptor. And I think that's part of why the president's been so effective is not only draining the swamp as he described it, but just some of the partisan hackery that we saw in our intelligence agencies that should have never been there. Your job is national security issues. It is keeping Americans safe and American interests abroad. You have now people around him that are going to do that. That should be celebrated and long overdue.
All right. Think of this as a lightning round because I got a couple for you. You know, you're as good as it gets. Now, second one. President Trump endorsed Susan Collins, Senator Collins in Maine, saying she's not my best friend, but she's sane, which distinguishes her from this other clown, Graham Plattner, a self-described communist, socialist. He's been nailed on physical abuse of women and sexting and all this nonsense. So Trump came out for Collins. What do you make of that?
Smart move by the president. Look, this reminds me of Ronald Reagan. Sometimes you got to just get what you can get and move on. Susan Collins is someone that's electable there. She's not a hardcore MAGA, America First conservative. All I care about her is who she's going to vote for leadership, and I need her to make sure she's there in Supreme Court picks and nominations. We got a very small majority, as you know. It's really tight in the Senate. We're having to rely on Fetterman far too much. He's been an amazing ally of right and wrong on the issues here, but we need to make sure that Susan Collins stays around, and I think the president's smart to do this early on.
So that leads me to, there's a story in a good editorial in the Wall Street Journal about Plattner, and the other one, the other side of that was Ken Paxton, who was running for the Senate in Texas against
Tallarico.
Now, Trump has attacked Tallarico left and right, and the guy's crazy, and he said it's just crazy things about God and the Bible. But I know you're a fan of Ken Paxton, but Ken Paxton has a spotty record also. What do you make of that race?
Yeah, look, there's a clear difference in these two individuals. Tallarico is going to make this race about Paxton's past, and Kim Paxton's clearly trying to make this race about Texas's future. Kim Paxton is a guy that's been fought and tried and true. He's a conservative. He's going to push for America First agenda. He'll be a huge ally in the Senate and work well with Senator Cruz. And you also have to look at how insane the Tallarico is. This is a guy that on the record, and there's a video out there, I'll put it up on my at the end of this interview, where he actually says we need to get rid of all drilling oil and gas. Like, that doesn't work even in California, much less Texas. Yeah, in Texas. Right. He also said that they're a vegan campaign. They don't eat meat. This is Texas. We do barbecue. He's anti-gun guy. We're guns in Texas.
Texas does cattle. The guy clearly, he clearly hasn't seen Landman, the TV series.
Yes, exactly. And this is, look, this race is all going to be outside of Texas money coming in, but I'm not worried about it as much as others are. I think they're going to try to buy this election. I think they're going to fail because we don't elect vegans who hate oil and gas and don't eat barbecue and don't have a gun in Texas. Like, call me old school, but I'm a Texan. I'm telling you, we don't do that there.
Sarah Sanders put it very well a couple years ago when she gave a rebuttal to Biden stating there's crazy and there's normal. I mean, really, that's the way the Republicans ought to run this. All right, Ben Ferguson, one-word answer. One-word answer, okay.
I'm ready.
Will the GOP hold the Senate?
I actually think they will.
One word? Yes. That's a yes? Okay.
Yes.
And second question is, will the GOP hold the House?
I think it's going to be tough, but I think they got good candidates, so I think it's a good chance. Yes.
So those are 2 yeses.
There you go.
Folks, Ben Ferguson, you heard him here, and he'll be back for more. Thank you, Ben. We appreciate it very much.
Good to see you.